try piano once. My teacher said I didn't have the dexterity. He wiggled his fingers in my face as if to demonstrate. Beams of ambient overhead lighting caught the silver rings on his finger. Tasteful, artsy. I noticed his outfit for the first time that night. A crisp black button-down sleeves rolled up to his elbows, bottom tucked into a pair of tailored trousers. Shiny loafers, black leather trench draped over one arm. Here was a man with a wicked sense of style. I can't read today. And there it was, that shiver of electricity, the jolt of attraction that instantly tore down my walls. Maybe you just haven't found the right teacher. He smirked. I'd love to hear you play sometime. And that's how we ended up at my apartment that evening. Him drinking wine, one arm propped up against the top of my Yamaha piano, gazing down as my fingers danced across the keys. I was playing Chopin. Is that how you say it? I'm not familiar with classical music. He was mesmerized. I wish I could be as talented as you are, he murmured, as the piece drew it to a close and I lifted my hands from the keys. You could make it big, you know. You're good enough for the National Orchestra or even headlining your own show someday. You're just as good as the concert pianist I saw last week. Maybe better. Oh no, I couldn't. I left. It takes a lot of time and energy to do tours and perform every night, and I just don't have that in me. I'm probably not good enough anyway. I disagree. He took my hand in his, delicately rubbing my fingers. You have an amazing gift. His name was Adam. He'd graduated university with 4 different bachelor's degrees and dabbled in different industries as a scientist in computational cancer genomics. I can't read whatever the fuck that says. Computational cancer genomics. Oh my god, okay. I'm so slow today, I'm sorry guys. Then as a software engineer at Google. Then a blockchain security researcher in a crypto firm. Okay guys, I decided I am gonna hold the microphone after all and do close up whispering because the background noise is really loud. So by the time we met, he was a hedge fund manager and was on the board of several businesses he'd co-founded. As if that ambition wasn't enough, he was also a chess grandmaster and a semi-pro tennis player on the side. And somehow, somewhere, in between work meetings and trainings and games, he carved out time for dates with me in his busy schedule. Little old me. Every date ended back in my apartment with me serenading him on my piano until, loosened and disorientated from the wine, just hope this video goes okay. Okay, let's continue. You're the most precious thing to me, you know that. Even more than your career and your tennis trophies I teased. This feels too good to be true. His thumb carefully traced the outline of my fingers. You're unbelievable. You know how many girls dream of this. A successful guy that's also nice and attentive and loving. I can't believe you make time for me amongst everything. He lifted my hands up to his lips, planting big sloppy kisses on each of my fingers in rapid succession, making me giggle in response. Well, get used to it, sweetheart. He suddenly went still and serious. Actually, I've had something on my mind. I'd like for you to move in with me, if you're ready, that is. I wasn't. We were 3 weeks in, and as I realized in that moment, I hadn't even been over to his apartment before. He seemed to sense my apprehension and quickly sought to appease me. No pressure, maybe you should come over to mine for our next date. Check the place out, no strings attached, I promise. Okay, I whispered, feeling slightly relieved. I felt his body relax under mine. He stroked my fingertips lovingly. I can't wait. 3 days later, I found myself standing in the living room of his penthouse apartment, utterly slack-jawed. It was the nicest house I'd ever been in, so sleek and polished it felt almost like a showroom. The main room had an open-plan living space with a modern kitchen, a huge L-shaped couch and a state-of-the-art entertainment system, all contained within floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. A 35th floor view. In the center of it all was a glass and stainless steel spiral staircase leading to the second floor. Right underneath the staircase, a brand new grand piano. For you, my love, for our new life together, he'd said. The most impressive thing, though, was probably his extensive fine art collection. Paintings of every size and style and period adorned every wall. The grandest one being the huge Renaissance-style painting by the dining table. 6 feet by 3, maybe 4 feet, nestled in thick gilded gold frame. It featured a series of nude women clustered on a cobblestone path amid a lush gardenscape. God, it must have cost a fortune. I'd only seen paintings like this in museums. As he stood in the kitchen making us dinner and drinks, I took the opportunity to explore further. On the second floor was a series of doors lining a central corridor. 2 on the left, a guest bedroom and a study room, and 1 on the right, master bedroom. The guest and master were identical, same size, same walk-in wardrobe, same ensuite bathroom. Same door next to the vanity. In the guest room it led directly into the study, but in the master bedroom it was locked. Strange. I peered through the keyhole, but all I saw was a red glow emanating from within. Curious, I jangled the doorknob a second time and rapped lightly on the door. Searching for something, I nearly jumped out of my skin at his sudden appearance behind me. He chuckled and handed me my cocktail glass. An olive popped around the bottom of the glass as I swelled the clear liquid peering out at me, stretching and distorting as it moved. What's in there? I motioned towards the locked door. Just a storage room. He took a sip of his drink. Your storage room has red lighting, I retorted. He set his glass on the vanity. Dinner's almost ready. Why is he deflecting? It feels like you're hiding something from me. We can talk about this later. Well, I'm here right now, and we're right by the door. He stared at me long and hard, then I realised he wasn't going to budge. Then he realised I wasn't going to budge. Fine. He produced a small gold key on a belt chain, twisted it in the lock and opened the door. For a second all I saw was red. Red floor, red walls, red ceiling, no windows. The same red foam tiles lined the walls and ceiling. Soundproofing in the middle of the room was a contraption that almost looked like a dentist's chair, but finished in rich black leather. On the extensions where it seemed one's arms and legs were supposed to lay, there were thick polished steel rings bolted into the structure, from which hung heavy leather straps with buckles and clasps. Lining one wall of the room were two large metal cupboards, and right above them was a series of framed portrait photographs, all of women I didn't recognise. For a moment, as I gazed upon one of the photos, I felt a feeling of recognition I couldn't quite place. Just as quickly as he opened it, the door shut again. "It's, for sex," he mumbled, his face taking on a ruddy flush. "A sex chair. I dabble in BDSM, if you've heard of it. Look, I didn't want to scare you away, okay? I know it's a lot, and you were already hesitant to move in with me. I didn't want to scare you off. I didn't know when to tell you." "Oh. And no, you don't have to use it, ever. Not now, not ever. I promise. I won't pressure you. It's just a stupid chair. Now please, can we please go downstairs and have dinner?" Downstairs the air was perfused with the rich, heady scent of cooked meat. A slab of steak rested atop a wire rack, dripping with fat and juice. Oily brown liquid pooled in the tray beneath. He pulled the roasted vegetables from the oven next. Potatoes and asparagus, lightly charred, sizzling and popping in the pan. The smell of butter clouded the air, moist and cloying. "I didn't know you could cook." The meat squelched as his knife cleaved through it. Dark liquid stained the wooden chopping block. He smiled, seemingly relieved I wasn't bringing up the red room. Always good against the grain. I learned it from a friend. It's like second nature now. Perched gingerly on a stool across the kitchen island, I nervously watched him carve the meat. In any other circumstance, this would have been romantic, sexy even. No, the vicious dissection before me filled my gut with a queasy premonition. It occurred to me for the first time in weeks that I barely knew him. I didn't know about the kink. I didn't know about the cooking. I was sitting in a stranger's kitchen in a stranger's house. It was like the air had been instantly sucked out of the room. A chill ran up my legs. Suddenly the luxurious furnishings all felt cold, the paintings lifeless, the cavernous spaces foreboding and ominous. But that's when I noticed it. The large Renaissance painting from earlier, the one with the nude women, in the middle of the cluster. A woman was sat on the ground playing chess. She had short, dark, curly hair, deep dimples and a mole on her left cheek. I'd seen her before. Even when painted in the Renaissance style, it was unmistakable. That mole, those dimples, the roundness of her cheeks. I'd just seen a real-life photograph of her, framed and hanging in the locked room upstairs. How see the large Renaissance painting looming behind him. I counted the women, 10 in total. Did I tell you after high school I went travelling? He seemed to be trying to break the uneasy atmosphere. I backpacked all over Asia, Mumbai, Bali, Singapore, Hanoi. I even spent a week in China. You ever been to China? No, I mumbled. I'm pretty sure there were also 10 portraits upstairs. He speared a potato with his knife, gesturing it about as he spoke. I'll bring you along someday. China's great. When I was in Hangzhou, I went to a TIFU museum, traditional Chinese medicine. He paused for a second, then lowered his voice and continued, slower than before. Did you know that in TCM, they believe the appearance of foods can determine their health benefits? I shook my head feebly. Okay, sure, they could just be odd, but why have photos of random women in a sex room, and who even are these women? Take a walnut, for example. He leaned forward in his chair, a glint in his eyes. A walnut looks just like a brain, so for centuries TCM practitioners believed eating walnuts would nourish our brains, way before modern science proved the same. Isn't that crazy? And yet, so simple, so intuitive, so smart. The women in the painting all seemed to be taking part in a different activity from the others. At one end, a curvy blonde carried a bundle of bread and fruit. You can learn so much while travelling. After Asia, I flew to South America. At the other, a petite brunette held a leather drawstring pouch brimming with coins. I went on this crazy 3-day ayahuasca retreat down in Brazil. The tallest woman stared down at a parchment scroll intently describing equations. I met a shaman, or maybe I hallucinated him. I don't know. Every living being has a soul, an essence, he said. In consciousness, your essence flows through your blood. The line of women started from the leftmost edge of the painting and ended somewhere near the centre. The right half only had the background painted in. Really makes you think, doesn't it? For centuries, cultures all around the world obsessed over the connection between our food, our bodies, and our souls. And what did we come up with over here? He chuckled, shoving another forkful of steak into his mouth. He was chewing with his mouth open, his teeth gnashed together, tearing at the sinewy flesh. Red juices dribbled from the corner of his lips. Then again, you know what they say. All at once he seemed to be growing infinitesimally small, the table stretching out for miles in between us. I blinked. The ceiling grew taller, then compressed. The ceiling grew taller, then compressed, then disappeared altogether. The Renaissance painting warped as the walls twisted and spun around the women's distorted faces. I stopped chewing. The potatoes felt cold and starchy between my teeth. You are what you eat. My heart sank and the floor gave in beneath my feet. I blinked awake, groggy, dizzy and confused. My nose twitched uncomfortably. The air smelled faintly sterile and metallic. I tried to rub my eyes, but my arms, heavy and unresponsive, wouldn't obey. As my eyes finally adjusted to the light, I realized I was back in the red room, lying with my back against the leather chair, arms and legs bound tightly to the chair by restraints. My head, too, was held firmly in place. I could taste the rubber of the gag in my mouth. In an instant, the events of the night came rushing back to me. The drinks, the room, the women, the cooking, the awake, we can finally begin." The door locked shut behind him. There was the sound of squeaky wheels on tile or metal clanging against metal. He finally came into my field of vision. He was wearing surgical scrubs and pushing a little metal trolley. On it, an assortment of instruments lay polished and gleaming in the lamplight. Scalpels, forceps, scissors, retractors, pliers, a saw. I was on the butcher's block and there was nowhere to run. The panic and desperation that followed was too much to bear. I tugged at the restraints, but they were done up so tightly I could feel them eating into my skin. "You know, it'll go a lot easier if you just cooperated." "Oh, but I know you girls, always so feisty." He turned to me with a knowing smirk and caught me glancing up towards the portraits on the wall. "No, you aren't the first." He snapped on a pair of surgical gloves. The dizzying smell of alcohol suffocated the air as he began sterilizing the tools. A cold, hard knot solidified in my gut, twisting tighter with each frantic tug I gave to the restraints. They were all once overlooked. He threw me a pitiful glance. "Like you. But then they got to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Better. Now they are celebrated, admired, embraced. Now their gifts can't be ignored." I started pulling at the restraints more violently, but the more I thrashed in the seat, the tighter the restraints felt. I could feel my skin burning from the friction. Tears pricked at my eyes. He sighed in the face of my resistance. "Let's face it, your talents are wasted on being a music teacher. I can make something of your gifts. Put you on a real stage, sell albums, you'll finally be recognized. We will be something great, you'll see." He slid a rolling metal stool out of one of the large cupboards and came to sit by me. He brushed my stray strands of hair away from my face and caressed my cheek. All I felt was revulsion. "Don't be scared," he murmured softly in my ear. "I'll take good care of you." I felt the sting of something sharp pressing lightly against my left wrist. I squeezed my eyes shut. Tears trickled down my cheeks, intermingling with beads of sweat. I held my breath. Then the saw began slicing into my wrist. The pain was unlike anything I'd ever felt before. The saw chewed through muscle and sinew, 1,000 sharp metal teeth catching, pulling, then tearing through my flesh. It felt like my hand was on fire. Every forward and backward stroke of the blade ignited every nerve ending in my wrist, sending jolts of blinding white-hot pain radiating up my arm. A raw primal scream clawed its way up my throat. I barely recognized my own voice. Blood gushed from the wound. A hot, slick torrent that dripped rhythmically into a plastic bucket below. I sobbed and writhed and begged for mercy, but he just kept going. Back and forth the blade went, shredding through me. Then he hit bone. The high-pitched shriek of metal on bone was deafening. Even through the agonizing pain and delirium, I still heard every horrific note. He stood up at this point to get more leverage. Bone crunched and splintered under his weight as he dragged the saw back and forth, grunting and wheezing, a labor of love. All I could do was scream. I must have passed out several times from the excruciating pain, but eventually I awoke to him placing my and sat by my side, watching as dark red blood filled up the clear tube and dripped into the bag. Eve was my first, he smiled wistfully. She was on the swim team in college, had real talent, great lung capacity, which I lacked. But then I heard she was quitting swimming to focus on some other shit. Imagine wasting all that natural talent. I thought, if you're not using it, then I will. So I took her lungs and ribs and I ate them. Oh my god, I stifled a sob. Nausea bubbled in my gut. My hands were as dinner. And I became a better swimmer. He grinned, patting his ribcage proudly. I was surprised it actually worked. Those TCM idiots had been eating walnuts for centuries when they could have been doing this. Though of course it took until Carly for me to realise I had to drink all the blood too, to complete the transfer. It's much more effective that way, just like what the shaman said. My vision was starting to go hazy. I'd already lost so much blood. He seemed to notice I was fading too and leaned down closer to my face. "See you soon, sweetheart," he whispered. "I can't wait for all that we'll achieve together." I live in a house with too many people. I can't hear them or see them, but I know, like me, they're very much alive. I live in a house with too many people. I can't hear them or see them, but I know, like me, they're very much alive. In his hands I find solace. I slot right into them. We play fugues and etudes and nocturnes. My fingers danced over the keys like it's second nature. I hate that he was right. Where I thought I couldn't make it before, where I thought I wasn't good enough, he simply waltzed in and demanded to be seen and heard. He has a successful music YouTube channel now. He's done several guest appearances in a national symphony concerts. He released an album. Could I have done it all along? Would I have garnered the same trust and attention as quickly as he had? Did I ever want to? We are his hands, his legs, his tongue, his ribs, his brain. We are his talents, his art, his successes, his accolades. But as far as the world is concerned, he is the ultimate Renaissance man. So far, the best part about being someone's hands is that when they accidentally fall asleep with their hands on an open laptop, you may just be able to go onto Reddit and type out your story. Even if using borrowed fingers, even if on borrowed time, my voice still fills the pages. It's bitter comfort that, however small, there are parts of me I get to keep mine. That was really, really good. I really enjoyed that story. I enjoyed the twist at the end where it was like, it worked kind of thing. I was initially gonna read the second story I had lined up for tonight, but I'm gonna have to read it in a separate video because there is just far too much traffic and noise going on outside